Call to order. All right, here we are. We're back with the Saturday Afternoon Movie Club. This is me, Geoff Tate, the host-ish. I'm a host-ish, and we got my cohorts, Bjorn and Randy. What's up, Bjorn?
And what's up?
Randall?
Ha-ha!
Hey, all right. So we have no guests in studio today. So we're just going to jump right into it. We did this week's movie is Nothing But Trouble in, more ways than one. The aptly titled Nothing But Trouble. It was it came out February 15th, 1991, and it debuted at number 8 that weekend. President's Day weekend. So this is almost the anniversary. It's the 25th anniversary, 24th anniversary when we're recording.
Oh, holy
it
shit.
won't be when it comes out.
Yeah, this comes out end of
but
March.
we're doing this is President's Day weekend now.
That's wild.
We didn't do that on purpose. Nothing about this movie feels like it was done on purpose.
On purpose?
I don't know, man. This movie seems
it was way too on
way
purpose.
intentionally bad.
It seems way intentionally. It's very intentionally something.
Yeah.
It's one of those movies where it was like, it was marketed as a comedy, but it's more of a horror
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
comedy, like more towards, like even like further than Beetlejuice, more towards like Return of the Living Dead or whatever, like a kind of funny horror movie. But it was not enough of either.
Right.
So like this isn't a case of it being mismarketed. It was mismarketed as a comedy, but marketing it as a horror would have let people know exactly why they didn't like it.
No, it was miswritten as anything.
Yeah, but if people knew that it was a horror movie or whatever, you're not gonna like it.
Right.
This movie is but I mean people do. I don't want to get too far into the.
Did you read the thing about the history of this movie though?
Yeah, a little bit.
How it was like Dan Aykroyd and his brother saw a horror movie, and people were laughing at it, and they were like, "We gotta do a horror movie and just make it funny," and this is that movie.
Yeah, but weren't these bozos involved with like the Twilight Zone movie? Like, wasn't Dan Aykroyd? John Landis did the Twilight Zone movie. That was supposed to be a horror comedy. I mean, this guy wrote Ghostbusters.
Yeah,
which is a monster movie that has jokes. It's not a comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Ghostbusters is not a comedy. It's funny, but it's a monster movie.
Yeah.
And him seeing Hellraiser 3 years later is what gave him the idea of making a funny horror movie.
Yeah.
I don't believe these timelines. So this movie, so February 15th, 1991, here's what it was up against. Here's the top 10. Silence of the Lambs.
Oh, back to that.
Right? Sleeping with the Enemy. King Ralph. Home Alone. Dances with Wolves. L.A. Story. Neverending Story 2. Nothing But Trouble. White Fang. And Awakenings.
Okay.
Dan Aykroyd said in an interview in 2018-ish with the New Hampshire Magazine, interesting publication, they asked him about regrets, and this was the one that he brought up. He said that he could have done a better job, and also the movie didn't really have a good chance for success because it was up against, and then this is his list, the Gulf War, a Julia Roberts comedy, and Silence of the Lambs. So I guess the Julia Roberts comedy he's talking about is Sleeping with the Enemy.
Is that a comedy?
No.
I've never seen it, but
neither is
like
Nothing But Trouble. So maybe he just doesn't know what a comedy is. Dan Aykroyd directed this movie because John Landis, Ivan Reitman, and John Hughes said no. They didn't want to do it. Two of them, I can't remember. I think John Hughes said he only wanted to direct movies that he wrote, and the other two were just like, nah. No, thank you.
No, I'm good.
Roger Ebert refused to write a review for it, but gave it a full-throated, whole chest, 2 thumbs down on the TV show. This is the movie where he famously saw it during the week. The theater was mostly empty except for a couple of other solo watchers and a group of teenagers who were talking the whole time, making jokes about the movie. And he claims to have walked up to that group of teenagers and asked them to be louder and talk more so he wouldn't have to hear the movie. IMDb gives it a 5.1, a little high. The critics' Rotten Tomato score is 15%. That seems about right.
Mhm.
Audience score 48%. Okay. This movie stars Chevy Chase, Dan Aykroyd playing 2 parts, John Candy
3.
playing 2 parts. What's that?
He plays 3. He's one of the babies.
Yeah.
Dan Aykroyd. Oh, no, you're right. Sorry. My bad. I got it mixed up. I will stop talking.
Right. So Chevy Chase, Dan Aykroyd plays 2 parts, John Candy plays 2 parts, Demi Moore plays 1, Valerie Brumfeld is the lady cop, Taylor Negron and Bertila Damas. She's a Spanish language singer.
Okay.
Who, like, her big hit was called La Chanca, which I think is referenced early in the movie. I think they say that in the movie. And then Raymond J. Barry and Brian Doyle Murray round out the top, the listed cast at the beginning, even though those guys don't show up till the
Very end.
less than 10 minutes left.
Yeah.
Valerie Brumfeld, I know her from one other movie. It's called Who's Harry Crumb, which we will do on this podcast at some point.
It's also John Candy, right?
It's a John Candy movie. I really like that movie. Valerie Brumfeld was Dan Aykroyd's comedy partner in the 70s, but like they joined Second City together. So that's where she comes from. Jane Curtin turned down that part, the Brumfeld part. Catherine O'Hara turned down the Demi Moore part. Meg Ryan couldn't do it. She had already signed on to do The Doors, but John Candy suggested her to play that part because they had worked together in Armed and Dangerous, another movie we'll do. Rick Moranis was the second choice for the studio to play Chevy Chase. He was the third choice from the production team to do it because Dan Aykroyd originally wanted to be the Chevy Chase part and the judge, but the studio said no. They wanted Chevy Chase. The production then decided they wanted Jeff Goldblum. Studio said no. I think this movie works better with Goldblum because the vibe is clearer.
Yeah.
For what they're going for. It also would have been better for me because I would not have seen this movie when I was 12 because this movie starred all of my favorite comedy actors at the time, basically. It's everybody except for Steve Martin and Martin Short. So if Jeff Goldblum stars in it, I probably don't see it then, and I would watch it now fresh.
It would be fresh.
Fresh.
Which would have been what, the second time?
Yeah, it's not good.
Dude, this movie with Catherine O'Hara, I think would have been like, I love Demi Moore, but fuck, Catherine O'Hara.
It should have been really good.
Should have been really good in that.
Or
part.
like Martin Short as the judge.
Oh
Yeah.
Martin
That
Short
would
as
have
the
been really
judge
good.
would have been great.
Yeah, a lot of it would have been better.
Fuck, maybe I should have done a recast.
I know, now I'm like recasting it. I didn't really recast it.
No, I'm not recasting this movie, but Dan Aykroyd played that baby, one of the babies,
Yep.
Bobo. He played that part because no one else would. That's why
Yeah,
he took
fucking
that
fair.
part. He wanted Chris Farley to do one of them, but his SNL contract wouldn't let him. Didn't give him the time. So thank God for that. That keeps the 9 movies Chris Farley was in to
9
to what they are.
Yeah.
Right? This easily is would have been the worst one. I mean, this is the worst movie any of these people did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we have this movie. We do alternate titles on this as part of this podcast, but I don't see how we can because this movie already has so many. It started production as a movie called Trick House.
Okay.
Then it was called Get, G-I-T, Get. Then it was called Road to Ruin. Then it was like locked. They had Vulcanvania as the title, and it was supposed to be released like Halloween of 1990, but they had to recut it because test audiences didn't like the original.
It's too gory, right?
It's just, I mean, it was R. It was rated R, and they wanted it not rated R.
I can imagine this movie being a lot goopier than it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, so sometime between realizing they couldn't hit the Halloween release date and putting it out February 15th, 2.5 months later, they changed the title to Nothing But Trouble. Dan Aykroyd won a Razzie for this, becoming only the second person ever to direct himself to a Razzie win after M. Night Shyamalan and The Lady in the Water. It was the only two guys to direct themselves to Razzie acting wins. This is the only movie John Candy was nominated for a Razzie. For the lady part, Eldana, he plays the granddaughter of the judge.
It's basically John Candy in drag.
Yeah, it's John
That's
Candy
really
in
what
drag.
it is.
I mean, it's not basically John.
It is John Candy in
Candy in
drag.
drag. And that's saying something because John Candy, to not get, so that means that Canadian Bacon and Wagons East, he didn't get Razzie noms. So he's pretty good. Pretty good in those, I guess. Or better.
Better in those
Better
ones.
than this.
Which is crazy because it's crazy to get nominated for a Razzie for that role when he had nary a line to say.
Oh, I know. I think it was just.
Sounds.
It's just sounds.
It was just because it was bad.
Yeah.
It was this movie. This movie should have swept. This is like the One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest of Razzies. So I don't really want to do the full recap. I just want to. I'm going to we'll do a little bit of the recap. We'll get to, basically they're just some New York stiffs trying to go to Atlantic City. This is a 2-hour drive.
Yeah.
But he meets Demi Moore. She just moves into the building. Chevy Chase having a party, finds out she's going to Atlantic City, offers her a ride. Somehow in the party, he invites Taylor Negron and the Bertilla Fausto.
Yeah.
Fausto and Ronaldo.
2 Brazilian millionaires called aptly named Brazilianaires.
Yeah, he calls them Brazilianaires. They come along. It takes way too much of the movie to figure out their brother and sister.
Their brother and sister?
Yeah. That's upsetting.
I didn't catch that at all.
I know, and it's like...
It's just so that end scene.
It'd be so much more upsetting if the rest of the movie wasn't what was around it.
Yeah.
In any other movie, this is that'd be the most upsetting part. But in this, it doesn't even fucking make the radar.
It doesn't even. It's not even a drop.
But they don't. They're bored. They're bored on the turnpike. They want to do a picnic, take a side road. So they do. Ends up driving through Volcavania, get pulled over for rolling through a stop sign.
Well, they roll through a stop sign. The Brazilianaires are like, "We're bored. You should run. Your car is faster than the cop car." There's a very boring chase.
But the cop car has rockets in it.
Yeah, cop car has rockets.
Flames coming out the back.
They get pulled over and like barricaded in, so they don't have a choice. And escorted to this.
This whole town is fucking booby trapped.
Yeah, the whole town's booby trapped. They get escorted to the Judge, which is just a giant junkyard in the middle of this fake town. Judge doesn't let him leave.
Yeah,
and that's kind of it.
Drops
that's the movie, right? They lock him in,
and then hijinks within this junkyard ensue.
It becomes clear that the guy has a problem with bankers.
Yes.
That seems to be the only problem that he has that he is aware of.
Yeah.
He has several other issues, but he doesn't seem to know that they're issues.
Right.
He does know he's got a problem with bankers. It takes a real fucking gross turn in the house. Dinner. At one point the house backfires. Is what it feels like. It's the mine fire or whatever, but it just seems like the house is backfiring.
Yeah.
That's what the underlying premise is. Dude doesn't like bankers because a long time ago, people came in, bought the land, mined it for coal underneath, leaving a giant sinkhole and a burning coal fire underneath it. So dude is sour that there's now a burning coal fire underneath his house and tries to kill anybody who is brought there for really no reason.
Right? We find out at some point there's just bones everywhere. There's
bones fucking everywhere.
They kill so many people. They keep their IDs. There's a room filled with IDs and news clippings so that we could put it together. Jimmy Hoffa. Jimmy Hoffa and Hare Krishnas, those are both huge late 80s references.
Yeah.
That don't nobody knows. Nobody doesn't make any sense now, but
Well, they also never come up. Like, they do this whole thing around Jimmy Hoffa, and then it's never brought up again.
yeah, it does not. It doesn't make sense. It's we don't know how dangerous these people are until the other 4 New Yorkers get pulled over, Daniel Baldwin and some other people.
Yeah.
They're drunk, they have drugs, and they get sentenced to death by a roller coaster into a chip chop.
Yeah, like basically a wood
chip chop
chipper.
machine, yeah. It's
With
big ass
with a huge engine on it.
Yeah.
that spits out
flames.
bones, clean bones.
Clean bones.
Clean
No
bones.
blood.
No blood, no clothes, just bones.
Just the bones.
all the rest of it's in that machine somewhere.
Just dry bones.
Clean bones, clean dry bones.
Uh-huh.
Get spit out onto a large pile of bones already there. They never even try to clean up the bones.
And like intact rib cages and spines.
Yeah, it doesn't. The bones aren't broken. They're just all separate.
Yep.
It's like a Lego.
Just them into bones.
There's just a giant pile of
into
fucking bones
into
outside
loose
of the
bones,
chute.
but not shards. Whole bones.
Whole bones. Not a nick to be found.
I was just like, those are boiled and
Yeah.
dried
It looks like they
whole
were
bones.
prepared for dogs.
Yeah, for the dogs.
Of which
For
there
cartoon
are
dogs.
none.
There's one.
Is there?
Yeah, they like send them out. It's like a bloodhound. They
Oh,
kinda-
you're right. You're right.
At
Yeah,
one
there are.
point, but it's barely a thing. When the couple
Right.
kind of escapes and goes
Yeah.
through the water.
They jump out the window.
Right.
They get out. They have to swim across a disgusting moat, get caught by John Candy's cop character. But he's like on the fence. He's not really. He's like the one sympathetic guy in the Vulcanvania crew.
They talk him into letting him go. And
Yeah,
then
and I
for
thought
him
that
to
would
leave.
play more of a part. But basically, that's just a wrap on all 3 of them till the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a scene where he's packing.
But that's
Right,
that's
but
it.
that's at the end. There's no. It
There's-
really feels like it's setting up that he's going to be the hero.
Yeah.
And save him.
Oh
But
yeah, no.
no, it's just them kind of bopping around this disgusting house.
It's really just an excuse for him to play his other character more.
Yeah.
That's all it is. They're like, well, we spent most of our money on this drag budget, so we're going to use it.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, they spent most of their money on toasters. If you look into it, like it's not. I'm not even really kidding.
It's not an insignificant amount of toasters.
The junkyard aspect of it cost them a lot.
Mm-hmm.
The highlight of the movie, I think we all agree, is Digital Underground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
I was
get
gonna
arrested.
say slide in the house.
Yeah.
The slide in the house is pretty cool. I mean, a lot of the house, you clean that house
Roller
up,
coaster.
clean the house up, take away all the fucking menace, and it'd probably be a fun house to live in or whatever, but not now.
Mm-mm.
But Digital Underground, speeding, 75 and a 50.
Mm-hmm.
But they explain that they're hip hop musicians. The judge, who shouldn't be, is instantly on board. We get to hear him do a song. All around the world, same song. It's it's cool. I like that song. Tupac's in it.
Mm-hmm.
That was when he was still in Digital Underground.
No lines.
It was fun to have G-Shock with his glasses and fake nose talking to Dan Aykroyd with his glasses and fake nose.
Yeah, yeah.
Then they have to prove that they're really musicians, so they have to set up and do a song, and then Dan Aykroyd joins in. The judge joins in because he's got organ and he fucking rips, and they're all into it.
Yeah.
And then they're just free to go.
Tupac's in there too, right? Did you say?
Yeah,
that?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
He's doing backup singing.
Yep.
yeah. We.
Well, I was gonna
It's
say,
like
isn't
2
it his
sentences
first
ago.
movie? His first movie. Sorry. Wasn't it his first movie?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right.
It's no, it's you looked at your phone for
I
something
know, for
at the
1
exact
second.
and it was the exact 1 second.
God
where
damn
we're
it.
like, yeah, Tupac.
No worse.
And you probably looked at a thing on your phone that said Tupac was in this.
Yeah, that's
Don't
what I
forget to
looked
mention
at.
Tupac's in
Yeah,
this.
mention Tupac. Wait for your moment. Oh,
And now we're cutting away from Bjorn
Yeah.
for the rest of the show.
Like, nothing but trouble. Now we can clip
yeah,
it.
nothing but trouble. Oh.
I thought I was pretty impressed that they were set free.
I was too.
Yeah.
But not right away because Chevy Chase has to marry John Candy,
right.
granddaughter character.
Yeah.
So they take advantage of having this group here to do the wedding march. So now Digital Underground are the witnesses to this wedding
And the band.
They do a cool tie the knot riff.
Yeah.
Some sort of ad lib wedding march thing. And then, we'll talk about the end after we do this, but a lot of this movie is gross.
Yeah.
So I don't want to go scene by scene because I don't particularly want to remember it. That I just want to talk about these people and what we like. Like, when did you see this movie?
Last night.
Right. So you saw it for the first time yesterday. What about you, Bjorn?
I think I did see it as a kid because I was really into like the whole crew of like Dan Aykroyd movies and like Chevy Chase movies. I loved the vacation movies a lot growing up. So I would rent these. I would just rent all of them. And I do remember my parents being upset about this one.
Oh yeah. I think I might have seen this in the theater. Like,
I definitely saw it too soon or too young. Like I was way too young to watch this movie.
I think Randall saw it too young. I don't know what the right age is, but I haven't got there yet. I remember finding out that a movie was coming out with these people in it and being very excited.
Dude, it's such a good cast.
Right? It's three legends and Demi Moore and
who wasn't like
Taylor
legendary
Negron.
at this point, but still like a really solid actor.
Yeah, she was good. She had just come off Ghost. That was the previous thing.
Mm-hmm.
Chevy Chase hadn't made one I hated yet.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It was just I hadn't seen the 70s ones, which aren't bad. Those are good. Seems Like Old Times and Foul Play or whatever. Those are good movies, but they're not a movie for a 10-year-old. But I'd seen The Vacations and Fletch and Funny Farm and Spies Like Us and Three Amigos, and I was all in. And then Dan Aykroyd, Spies Like Us, Ghostbusters, like John Candy, Uncle Buck, Who's Harry Crumb, Vacation,
Great Outdoors.
like
established comic actors.
we loved these people, and so having this movie come out, we were fucking so hyped, and oh man, what a bummer.
Was this for you guys like the first time? Like, I wouldn't consider this an ensemble cast because there's only really 4 or 5 people, but is this the first time you guys figured out that like an ensemble cast could be really disappointing?
I mean, yeah, I don't know.
Level?
Yeah.
So like to the level of like Men Who Stare at Goats or Monuments Men or Ocean's 13, like a giant cast of fucking solid, established, renowned actors just shitting the bed.
No, I mean, I'm going to take a little issue with what you said because I don't think in those other movies that any of the actors shit the bed. The movies did, but the actors did not.
Okay.
Like, I don't think...
I guess I don't mean actors.
I don't think the
shooting bed.
performances in The Men Who Stare at Goats are what hurt that movie.
Sure. Well, I also don't necessarily think that the performances in this movie are what hurt the movie. The writing is fucking awful.
Yeah, I mean, the performances don't help.
Right. But it's not...
Like, the way John Candy plays both parts he plays is disappointing.
He's underutilized, is what I thought.
It is.
He undersells. Like, he doesn't get anything funny to do as the cop.
No.
And the drag stuff is not funny either. And, they're not... He's just playing a different part, so it's not really... It just isn't funny.
And that's kind of the thing. Like, they're not bad. They're flat.
Yeah.
Everything's just flat, but it's not outright bad.
And
It felt like they knew they were making a bad movie, so they weren't.
Yeah.
They weren't going to try too hard.
Yeah.
They didn't want anybody to think that they
Thought
it was going to be good.
Yeah.
Also, I like Ocean's 13, so.
Well, like in Chevy Chase, I felt like he does all those little comments and things that he does in other movies, like in Caddyshack and usually that stuff lands, but this
None
one
of them
it just
landed.
felt like it just felt like watching an improv show where everybody's off. So an improv show
Yeah, they don't have a.
where it's just like they aren't finding that magic
Right.
Like they're just the punchline. It's like, yeah, it makes sense why that would be funny, but it's not quite funny.
It's like
Yeah.
a bunch of people who write for the Disney Channel wrote this movie for adults, and they just don't have any concept of what that humor is.
Yeah.
Like, I can see 12-year-olds who shouldn't be watching this movie finding this funny.
I mean, I laughed a couple of times, but I think I was laughing at
Yeah.
it, not with
I mean, there
it.
was definitely some stuff Chevy Chase said that made me laugh.
Sure.
Like he does the Chevy Chase
Yeah.
thing, and this movie did at least give him the chance to be like the most successful Chevy Chase could be is the Griswold or Fletch.
Mhm.
And Fletch works the best because Chevy Chase doesn't seem like an idiot. He seems like an asshole.
Right.
And
Yeah.
Fletch lets him be a capable dick.
Mm-hmm.
And this character is a capable dick. And so that sets him up. Anytime he's doing something else, Spies Like Us, he's a capable dick. Three Amigos. His successful movies are idiots or capable dicks. And when he just plays a regular guy, it doesn't work.
Right.
But
What are your thoughts on Caddyshack?
capable dick.
Because I feel like that
Yeah, he's
falls
a
in that.
very arrogant dick, and it works. He's very funny and catty, and that this character reminded me of that character more than any of the other stuff. The offhand snark.
Like the fadeaway jokes.
Yeah, the stuff that needs to be in it because nothing else is funny, but
Right.
Like there's a scene
also
where
doesn't need to be in it because his jokes don't really move things along.
right. There's a scene I think they're running down a hallway and it's full of clocks and he's like, "Do you know what time it is?"
Yeah.
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 I did laugh at that. I thought that
That's
was
funny.
funny.
Mine's a little slow,
Yeah.
Mine's a little slow.
right? That kind of
Yeah.
it's this, the Fletch. You can see Fletch saying that if this was
Yeah.
if the Fletch character was investigating Vulcanvania
Yeah.
and ended up in this, this is how Fletch would act. But it doesn't work. So I just kind of want to
It doesn't carry the whole movie.
no.
Yeah.
Right.
He's not even given the chance to. He might have been able to carry this movie if that was the way this movie was built. But it
But
wasn't.
it's
So nothing carried it. So when I saw it, I was disappointed. I also didn't like it and never watched it. So last night was the second time I've seen this movie. And I went into it high hopes. I mean, not high hopes, but I went into it with the idea that perhaps this movie wasn't for a 12-year-old.
Cautious optimism.
Right? I'm a grown up. Maybe I'll get more jokes. Maybe it won't seem so scary. Whatever. No, it turns out I just was right the whole time.
Did you find this scary?
No, I mean, when I was a kid, I did probably. It's especially when you don't think, we thought it was a comedy, and it's fucking
Right.
terrifying for a comedy.
Yeah.
It's not. If they told us it was a horror movie, I would have been scared the whole first time I saw it. But
It's interesting. There are horror elements of it that are really good. Very, very. When the judge is introduced for the first time, he's moving around behind the books. You can't see his face. That's a really great scene.
and there's cool
For a
shots.
horror movie, yeah.
There's cool shots and cool framing, and there's a scene in the room where Demi Moore is in the foreground on the left, and Chevy Chase is behind her, and on the right, and the way that looks on screen is very interesting.
Yeah.
Kind of almost a John Carpenter
Uh-huh.
feel, or maybe not even more, maybe more like Hitchcock. Hitchcock would do stuff like that with the two people in the frame, but both in focus, but at different
The
levels.
Split diopter. Yeah.
There we go. So there's this movie. Everybody making it was capable of making a good movie, but there is no version of this movie I think that's good.
It's fun.
You have to change a lot of it because it also had elements of my least favorite X-Files episode.
Yeah.
The one that got pulled and was never in syndication, the Hills Have Eyes family. The inbred family one, that has this body horror stuff.
Oh, okay.
And that's kind of it. This is a little bit of foreshadowing to our questions, but the special effects and makeup in this movie are absolutely incredible.
Yeah. Oh,
They
yeah.
are fantastic. Like some of the best that I've seen in a while.
Yeah, just
It
squandered.
looks
Yeah.
amazing.
Those two gross grandkids, the
Yeah.
Bobo and,
Yeah.
and little devil, which, I mean, even it just sounds like they're saying devil with an accent, but even in
Right.
the captions, it's devil.
Yeah.
Double.
Debull? It might be Debull? Little Debull?
But like the moment where Chevy Chase gets down the slide and finds the peephole and we see the judge peel his nose off.
Oh, yeah, he's
like
got a...
this is horrific and so good.
And
the
why?
juxtaposition of taking his toupee off and then taking off his nose toupee.
Yeah.
He just got a gaping hole in the front of his face. Is this guy a monster?
So
What like?
gnarly.
And to never,
I
it
mean,
never even comes up again. It's just a thing, just for that moment.
Right. But like,
It does explain why the rubber nose looks like a dick at
right.
one point.
Yeah.
It turns out it is fake. Like, we know it's fake because we're watching it, and that's Dan Aykroyd in a bodysuit. I didn't know that it was fake in their universe too.
Mm-hmm.
So when like they walk in and Taylor Negron says something about his nose looks like rubber, I was like, of course. Why would you leave this in the movie? But then it does come up later.
It is.
But yeah, like the production design of this movie is absolutely incredible. I can't find anything wrong with how it looked.
I felt like it's just a well-lit horror film.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
an overlit.
It's lit like a comedy.
It's lit like it's like if you lit a horror movie like a comedy.
Yeah.
So like everything,
That's
there's like
exactly what
not
it is.
any,
There's
there's no
nothing dynamic.
shadows, there's no jump scares at any point.
Mm-hmm.
If you just add a couple jump scares and like turn off a couple of those lights, it's a totally different movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right there.
It's like evenly
You
lit.
keep all the sets
Yep.
and the story, and just change everything else. This movie could be good.
Yeah, it could be really good.
Right, the same the effects, like the same crew, everything. They did good work. That it didn't add up to the sum of its parts.
Yeah,
Uh,
which is really disappointing because again, that it looks incredible.
It's like turn off a couple lights, change the editing a little bit. That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
It's a horror movie.
Yeah.
It's a straight up
And
horror
it's a
movie.
fucking good one.
That was my thought as I like halfway through, and I was like, "Oh, this is a horror movie. Watch it like a horror." It's like, and I started appreciating it in a different way.
Yeah.
I was
same.
very curious about your thoughts on that.
Oh, I had the exact same thought. Like the entire way through, I'm like this, and again, this is a little bit of foreshadowing, but it feels like someone desperately wanted to make a more grand version of Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah.
Creepy big house, fucking weird ass looking people in it. It's disgusting everywhere. There's a ton of practical effects. Like it's really, really well made in that regard. But to your point, turn off a couple fill lights
Mhm.
and cut it a little differently, and this movie fucking rips.
And a little bit more. What is it for? Foreboding music,
Yeah.
not so silly and upbeat music,
Exactly.
and it would totally,
it would
right, the score.
totally change it.
like this. It would be one of my favorite horror movies if they did it that way.
It would be a classic horror.
Yeah.
What were you gonna
There's
say?
almost too much of like the set design and stuff, like the hoarding stuff.
Yeah.
There's so much of that it makes it unbelievable that these people can do anything except be hoarders. Like the fact that anything else happens, that they're also cops and a judge.
Right.
Like this is an overwhelming amount of hoarding. They should not be capable of anything else.
And it
Like
doesn't-
we've seen the shows about hoarders. They're not people that hoard to this degree. They're not also successful
Organized.
other things.
Well, to add to that point, people who are hoarders don't rig an entire house to be one giant Rube Goldberg machine.
Right.
Like the every single wall can move and push you into a trap,
Yeah.
and that's wild. Like, and that the hoarding serves no purpose to the story.
right. It just makes the setting creepy.
It makes it unsettling. Yeah.
Which is easy enough to do with just like a junkyard near the house, or like the house doesn't also have to be a junkyard.
Yeah.
You have the junkyard
yeah,
outside.
Yeah.
Why would you have the junkyard outside and have any of the stuff inside? You just have so much. Just put it all in the yard. That seems to be what you've been doing
Right.
for 100 years.
Yeah, for literally 100 years.
Well, how do you have so many toasters? Or all these people? Did Jimmy Hoffa have one, and when you killed him, you kept his? Is that where these all come from? All the victims showed up with toasters,
Fucking toaster killers.
and fuck old fridges and shit, or do they just go? They just go through enough toasters that they burn one out and throw it in the yard, but keep all the other stuff. The room they locked Chevy and Demi in is just covered in loose paper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just it looks like it got ransacked by like some half-assed private eye search. And then that was it. Like, it doesn't. Why are there papers? There's no papers in any of the other. Like, these look like files.
Yeah.
Why is this? Why is the guest room also the file room and the floor is the file cabinet?
Also, why do you have a room dedicated to IDs that you're displaying like art? Like, if anybody pokes in there, you are immediately guilty of murdering like thousands of people.
And there's 2 fucking skeletons in that room. Or
Yeah.
decayed, like, psycho, like, mother type bodies.
Yeah.
And who are they? Why did they die in that? Were those the last 2 people that found that room and they just never let them out? Because they were stuck in that room.
They didn't open the slide door.
Yeah.
Right. So who opened the slide door? Was that?
It was just a hand.
Right. So
we don't know.
it's just a hand. So we don't know. So we have to assume the only character it could be is the John Candy cop character.
Yeah.
He's the only one that would, that had any motivation at the time to let them out.
But to kind of invalidate that a little bit, when they get up into that room, they trigger a safe to block the entrance.
Yeah.
Which means in order for them to get in to re-rig that, they have to climb back up the slide, which is damn near vertical for most of it.
Well, there might be one of those levers.
That opens another door.
There are a
there
lot
just,
of
I mean, there
levers.
just might be one of those levers that open the slide door. Could be, because it's on a pulley system that's safe. So there could be a way
to pull
like
it
a lever
back.
that just returns it.
Sure.
But yeah, who knows? You're right. That wasn't thought out. We're in a real. Why did he have to go through the fire if the door was unlocked from the inside in the beginning of the Rock situation? Because if that door is unlocked from the inside, he would have just came out that door when he escaped. Why did he learn the fire? You know, we're
We're
not talking about the Rock.
Yeah.
I get it.
Right there,
It's overdone.
it was one thing at a time, I think, and not like they looked at each thing one at a time instead of the whole thing at once.
Well,
There's a lot of stuff that feels like if you looked at the whole thing at once, you would see that this part doesn't work, and this part doesn't work, and this part contradicts this part.
I feel like as a kid, I would have laughed a lot harder at, oh, it's a bat room.
Yeah.
Because that was like a joke that I used to make about bathrooms, you know? Like,
Oh, yeah, what the fuck? Why is there a room full of bats?
Why is there a room with just a headstone?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Then that's the thing. It's like it's almost
It's every
like
idea. It's too many ideas.
it's every idea, and they're like, how do we make all of these in one place? Well, we'll just throw that. All of these will be different rooms in a mansion. Cool, but why? They built a movie around funny rooms.
Right. There does seem to be in movies where like the person directing it has only directed one movie or like doesn't even really intend to direct a movie. There seems to be too many things. And this one in particular, doing the research, apparently Dan Aykroyd was really open to suggestion. So the crew would suggest things and he'd be like, that's a good idea. Let's do it. And you can see how he just said, like, too many people had good ideas. And using every good idea doesn't mean the whole thing's a good idea. This is a movie where they used every good idea, but it was too many good ideas.
Right.
You know, four of those 10 rooms makes for a really creepy house. 10 of those 10, like all 10 of them, there's like, this is, what the fuck is this? Is this Scooby-Doo? What the?
That's exactly what it
Kinda.
is.
Kind of, right? Like,
It's really just Scooby-Doo.
it's like they worked backwards from an amusement park thing that doesn't exist. Like they did the Pirates of the Caribbean, but for like some Disney haunted mansion thing that isn't real.
it's based on nothing.
Yeah, but they do like too many good ideas. It reminds me of, and this is one of my. I'm gonna tip it now, but just to talk about it right here. This is the same, right around the same time. The Quick Change came out, which is the only movie Bill Murray ever directed.
Oh, okay.
For similar reasons, Ron Howard was supposed to direct it and dropped out and ended up doing something else. And Bill Murray just wanted this. He wanted to make this movie, so he agreed to direct it. And it's the only one he's ever directed. And it does have a few. It has a few extra things, but he's just better at it. So, Quick Change is a straight ahead movie that has a couple of goofy things in the background where you're like, oh, Bill Murray had some ideas and just like, but didn't let them slow the movie down.
Mm-hmm.
Just did it behind, like, so there's some goofy shit in that movie, but it's behind the movie.
Mm-hmm.
You're still watching the movie, and if you want to see it and pay attention to what's going on behind what you're supposed to be watching, you'll see some funny shit. But this movie was all of that. Quick Change is a better version of guy directs one movie.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Bill Murray just seems like a guy that doesn't take any suggestions,
Yeah.
which probably helps. And if you guys haven't seen that one, well, I can't wait till we do it. It's great.
I've not seen it.
I haven't either.
It's amazing. It's a bank robbery movie. Bill Murray, Gina Davis, and Randy Quaid.
Oh, shit.
And they rob a bank. And then the whole movie is them trying to get out of New York City.
Okay.
Right. And it works. It makes sense. Phil Hartman's in it for a scene. Stanley Tucci and Tony Shalhoub are both in it.
Dude, I'm fucking sold. Say no more.
Yeah, it's good.
I'm sold.
But yeah, that's the, they would have came out in the same year if Nothing But Trouble didn't have to get recut a bunch of times.
Mm-hmm.
Did I lost my steam.
Right.
So what?
We can take a break.
How long have we gone? I forgot to start my timer.
Like 40 minutes.
Yeah, okay, we're not gonna.
This one's not going to be a long one.
No, this one's not gonna be very long. So let's just talk. What is your favorite? Let's just talk about the principles real quick. Like,
Sure.
The reason why I wanted to watch this movie is because of John Candy, Chevy Chase, and Dan Aykroyd.
And Digital Underground.
Right? And this was my intro to the reason why I wanted to watch it this time was because I knew Digital Underground was in it. I had no idea what was going on for that part. That was just the whole movie. The first time I saw it, I had no idea what was going on ever. This time, the only time I knew what was going on was Digital Underground. But what's your favorite Chevy Chase movie? Should we talk about that?
Sure.
Or any of these? Uncle Buck, I'd tip mine because
Honestly, we can
John Candy just feels like Uncle Buck to me all the time.
We can just do touchstones here.
Yeah, let's do touchstones for the crew. Chevy Chase, what's your Chevy Chase touchstone? Do you have one?
I guess it'd be Vegas Vacation. That's the first thing I ever saw him in.
Wow.
Yeah.
Me'd be Vacation, the first one.
The first one, right? He's kind of been so famous my whole life that I don't know for sure if I have one, but my guess is Fletch was the first thing I saw him in. So I saw that in the theater.
I think Fletch is my favorite thing I've seen of his.
Oh yeah, I mean that's
for sure.
That's an easy call, but my dad wanted to see Fletch, so we went to the theater and saw Fletch. I was probably 6 or 7 when that came out. Too young to see Fletch, but it was funny enough that I watched it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then it took me until I was 19 before it finally dawned on me that not only I figured out what the movie was about, at the same time I figured out that I didn't know what the movie was about. Like, at all. I didn't realize that I didn't know, and then suddenly something clicked and I was like, this whole time I had no fucking...
It's like The Usual Suspects ending, but in reverse.
Yeah. Yeah. So what about Dan Aykroyd? Do you have Dan Aykroyd touchdowns? Is it My Girl?
I have a few of them because I can't.
That's not how this works.
I know.
Mine would be Trading Places, weirdly, because I liked Eddie Murphy movies a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like that was the first one.
I think mine is probably Tommy Boy.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I think mine would probably be Spies Like Us. Like, that might be the first Dan Aykroyd thing that I saw, but he was just Dan Aykroyd, so I already knew.
Like
I kind of
SNL,
knew who
maybe.
he was before.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't see him on SNL, but he was just around. Same with Chevy Chase. John Candy was a very specific, like, this wasn't the first thing I saw him in, but I can't see him without thinking of Uncle Buck. I'd definitely seen Armed and Dangerous, and
I
saw The Great Outdoors in the theater, and that came out before Uncle Buck. So
yeah, Great Outdoors for me because we like owned that one, so like I watched it a lot.
yeah, I like it. It's still fun.
Yeah,
He's so nice. Summer Rental. John Candy made some fun shit. Maybe Summer Rental was the first thing I saw him in.
is he in Home Alone?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
In the polka. He's in the polka band.
that's right. He's in
They
the
were at the
polka band.
U-Haul. And I don't know, Taylor Negron. What do you know Taylor Negron from? Anything?
Punchline.
Yeah?
I'd have to look him up real quick. I think he's in a Jim Carrey movie. And that would have been it. I'm going to look it up real fast.
Mine is The Last Boy Scout.
Oh yeah.
Every time I see him in anything, I think of him. Even though I definitely saw this before The Last Boy Scout, but
You just don't think about it.
right, I didn't
Yeah.
remember much about this movie
Hold
at the
on.
time. Valerie Bronfeld, that's easy. Who's Harry Crumb?
I didn't really have one for.
I mean, nobody would, unless you've seen Who's Harry Crumb
Yeah, I
15 times.
haven't.
Memento.
But
I can say my John Candy is Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
yeah, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. It's just another delightful, nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
So just you didn't like this movie this time?
No.
You're like, no. Okay. And Randall, you were like, what was your like?
I liked it for. I mean, I liked it for the reasons that I mentioned. Like, it just the production design is fucking incredible,
Yeah.
and for that, I have to give it a lot of credit because there are not a lot of movies that have pulled off the look that this has, and this one does it in fucking spades.
Yeah.
It looks amazing.
I
Everything
wanted
about
to
it.
like it, but this movie does something that and I know, like, from my, like, take my not liking it with a grain of salt. This movie could be a lot better, and I still wouldn't like it because I don't like watching gross. I don't
You don't
want to
like
see a lot of gross.
Yeah.
And this movie has a lot of gross.
Movie is very gross.
It's very gross.
For most of it. Like, it's very gross almost the whole time.
Like, especially the dining room scene where they're eating the sausage. Like, that's fucking disgusting. But
just, I mean, Aykroyd's makeup as the judge, the grandson, Bobo and Lil Double, like, that's disgusting. It's
So gross.
it's so gross.
it's so gross, but it looks
Coming out of the moat.
No, it definitely looks
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Like, they do a great job looking gross. They do, like, I know they're
They
not
nailed
real.
gross.
I know. Like,
They created a thing that looked fucking disgusting, and that's what they were going for. And so this is where I take my movie critique hat off and put on my personal preference hat.
Yeah.
of,
No.
it's too gross. So I mean, this movie could be great, and I still wouldn't like I would be like, this was great, and I'll never watch it again.
yeah.
Because it's too gross.
Taylor Negron is I don't know which one I saw first, but it's either Angels in the Outfield or Biodome.
All right.
Okay.
I don't know if I've seen either one.
For Nothing But Trouble, I spent the first half hour like really disappointed in myself for suggesting it. And then about halfway through, I was like, all right. And then by the time we get to the Digital Underground scene, I was like, all right, cool. I'm okay
You're
with
sold again.
this. I'm okay that I did this. I don't feel so bad anymore. I'm done feeling guilty.
Never feel bad because this is what we're doing. We're
I
going
know.
back to see.
Yeah.
We're just gonna see
Yeah.
if these work anymore. That kind of shit. So we know. I don't think I'll ever see this movie again.
Oh no, I'm taking it off my Plex as soon as I get home.
I loved it, but I'll never watch it again. That would be my take.
Yeah. Like I don't even care to show this to John when we have free time. It's just like there are other movies that also look incredible.
I'd
that
rather
are
look
more
at a
entertaining.
wall for 90 minutes.
I'm not gonna watch it again.
That's Jeff's take. Nothing But Trouble. Not as good as just
Nothing.
walls.
Nothing But Trouble is not as good as nothing at all.
It's nothing.
I'd rather watch nothing at all
Just
than Nothing
nothing.
But Trouble.
And that's the clip.
Yeah, there's the clip. I wonder what the Raz has to say about it.
Oh, I don't think the Raz is even going to finish it.
No.
Yeah, we can
No.
take bets. Is this a didn't finish?
I'm
I hope he doesn't.
I
That
hope
would
he
be-
doesn't either.
Yeah, I feel like
I feel like we're all going to be in the same boat with the Raz on this. Like, why did we finish?
no. I mean, I'll take the heat too. Like, I'll tell him that I picked it. He's not gonna know. He doesn't know who picked it. So if it comes up, I'll take the heat. It is it's a nice double feature with Disorderlies because
It is.
I mean, Disorderlies is better. I'd rather watch that than this. But there was two music videos basically.
Uh-huh.
So that's fun. Drop a hip hop group
Yeah.
in the middle of something.
Mm-hmm.
This one they just showed up to do it. Like, it's such a wild pick. I
It is.
wish I could find. I wish there was like an oral history as to why Digital Underground was in this movie at all. Like, Dan Aykroyd must have just been kind of a fan, or the Tragically Hip couldn't do it, and the studio was like, take this one, because it might just be as simple as Universal made the movie and Universal Music
yeah.
was like, check this
Yeah.
out,
Oh, absolutely. Up and coming band that they want to boost
Hello.
up a little bit.
right? Because the Tragically Hip is Dan Aykroyd's favorite band.
Mm.
He hosted one of the times in the 90s, like the only time they did Saturday Night Live, he hosted and picked him, and then they fucking sang a song at him. Yeah, I don't know how mutual the feeling is between them, but he loves them.
Mm-hmm.
So I would imagine if he could pick, he would have picked Tragically Hip. But Digital Underground is better for me watching it.
For your experience.
Yeah, we get to see a very young Tupac in a Yankees jersey.
Wait, Tupac's in this, you know?
Yeah, Tupac Shakur.
There's the other clip.
Did you guys know Tupac is in this movie?
Yeah, and then they get so that's our recap. Now we'll do the final act. They get away. They finally get away. They set off bombs. There's a big explosion. They escape. We're just going to do this rapid.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They tell the authorities. The authorities all follow them. This all seems too easy, and it turns out it is. Everybody knows the judge. They take the state attorney general and whatever Brian Doyle Murray's character is, and they go to take down the evil Vulcanizers or whatever. And then it was like, "Hi, Judge." It's so fucking goofy.
It is.
But things start falling apart. The sinkhole.
The burning coal fire to the
Right.
rescue.
It's Chekhov's backfiring house. That they use that. So a second series of explosions allows them to escape for the second time in 8 minutes. And then they see on television, we get that quick cut of John Candy, the cop, and then the brother, sister, Fausto Ronaldo in Rio.
Yeah.
They escape, move back to Rio. Chevy Chase and Demi Moore are
Without their passports, too.
Somewhere. Yeah, right. Without any ID.
No ID.
They're somewhere. It doesn't look like his apartment building because the guy's cleaning the car outside. Like, so it seems like some cabana or whatever, but who cares? Then they see on the news, the judge lived, he survived. And Chevy Chase gets so scared he runs away, leaving a Chevy Chase-sized hole in the wall of the building he's in, as if he was Bugs Bunny.
The most Looney Tunes-ish shit they could come up with.
Why is that in this?
Right? I mean,
Why not? Actually, you know what? Why not?
Why not? Why? I mean, it's just as big a why as most of this movie.
Yeah.
So that's how the movie ends, and that's how this part ends. Let's find out what the Raz has to say. Here we are with the Raz talking nothing but trouble. What did you see this movie when it came out?
I did not.
But you've
I did
seen
not
it.
see this movie when it came out. I've seen it. Yes,
Yeah. What?
I've seen it. Look, dude, I'm a Demi Moore fan.
Yeah.
So I will watch her in anything, dude. She's such a babe. And, I'm a John Candy fan. I'll watch John Candy in anything, and it's one of those things where even if it's bad, I enjoy it because of the plus. You know, like Demi Moore's in it. She's great. Chevy Chase is in it. He's questionable, but it's it's also such a bonkers movie. It's like one of those movies where it's so bad it's so good for me because it's like someone was just yes-anding the whole movie. Oh, then this happened. Like my nephew made a movie. Oh, then there's this Bone Crusher, you know, like then there's a secret passage under the court. You know, it's like this is a movie that is one of those movies that it's so bonkers. It's good because it's like if you were at a party and it's like one of those drinking games or whatever where you start it off. Okay, there's these. First off, they don't make movies about yuppies anymore, so that's great. I love a good movie about a yuppie. It's one of those things where it's like if I start off, okay, there's these two yuppies and they need to drive from New York to somewhere else and they take the wrong exit. And then like we're sitting at a dinner table and it's like Mad Libs with the movie. And it's just so insane. How can you not like this movie? It's so stupid and awesome.
You'd be a lot more correct than you think. This was in doing the research, it seems like Dan Aykroyd took suggestions from anybody on set. That's a verified, like that's documented, and you can tell in the movie that a lot of it was like they thought it up the night before. Yeah,
you can tell 100%, and that's why that movie rips. I mean, this is why they don't make movies like this anymore, because you can't, because it's a complete waste of money, but it creates gems like this that are like, holy cow, this movie exists, and that's awesome. Somebody bought a house. Somebody was able to afford a house because of this movie, and I love that.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. That is, yeah, somebody did buy a house. People made money off this movie. The movie didn't make money, but
somebody did.
People did.
The studios didn't, but people did. Some best boy was able to afford a car payment because of this movie.
And I love that. That's incredible. That's a good take. Wow. Always with the Raz throwing curveballs. Guy. You know? What's your favorite Demi Moore movie? Demi Moore.
Demi Moore. I'll tell you, The Substance is pretty good.
Ooh.
That's a new one she did. That one's really good. You know, I do like I like the one with Tom Cruise and Jack Nicholson. A Few Good Men. That movie rips. What was the one with John Cusack? There was one with John Cusack.
One Crazy Summer.
One Crazy Summer's insane. You know, Oops. I believe that's the movie with Gigi Daly, I think, too, where she plays she's in a band, or that might be a different one.
Oh yeah, she might be in that. It's either that one or Better Off Dead. She was definitely in. She might have been in both.
It's Better Off Dead. Because she made a song, Better Off Dead Than Living Without You, or something like that. She had a really good song with Better Off Dead. But yeah, man, Demi Moore was one of those staples where she got overshadowed by her marriage to Bruce Willis, and her talent kind of, you know, but she's great. She was great. I mean, G.I. Jane's awesome too, dude.
That seems to happen. Like,
great movie.
Nicole Kidman's also great, but she was overshadowed by her marriage.
I mean, it's you know, it's hard when you marry somebody so fucking awesome.
Yeah, right.
You're going to get overshadowed. Not to sound like I'd hate to sound, you know, not to sound chauvinistic or, you know, masculine, but come on. I mean, these women don't hold the candle to Bruce Willis or Tom Cruise. Now they do. Now they're making, you know what I mean? Like, but back then, I'm talking about in the 80s, you know, in the 80s, they were just hot actresses who made a couple good movies, and then they married these superstars. And now afterwards is when they really shined with their talents, right? Like that's when they really grew into their own, is when they, you know, weren't just hot 27-year-old women who married superstars. Now they're like actually, you know, getting to do what they're weren't, you know, now they're getting to show off their actual talents, which are amazing.
Yeah, there's nobody, they're not talking about the other half at all. Right. I mean,
right.
But even back then, like they were both making incredible movies, and for people to talk about their marriage instead of A Few Good Men or Dead Calm or whatever, like that was always absurd.
100%. Because
I mean, Dead Calm was better than. Well, I mean, Tom Cruise and Bruce Willis have both made good movies, but like at that point of the marriage, but it did help. Like it did help both of them. Tom Cruise had Top Gun, and then some, Rain Man and 4th of July. Like those were Oscar type things and hits. I don't know what I'm saying. I guess I'm trying to downgrade what they did, but they were like, those movies were equivalent. Like Ghost was as big a hit as Die Hard.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That movie's great too.
Yeah.
I guess it's of those movies. It's interesting because people still love Ghost, but Die Hard gets talked about more. Maybe because of Christmas. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it does have that.
It's tough.
At the very least, it's going to come up every November and December for the rest of our lives, because people have is a hot dog a sandwich argument about it, and who gives a shit? It's
well, we know what it is.
Yeah, it's whatever. It's whichever one you want it to be.
Which is a Christmas movie.
Yeah. Right. It's whatever you want it to be. It came out in July, but it's about Christmas. It's around Christmas time. The soundtrack is Christmas. Who cares? You have a bearer bond. Oh my God. Is that real?
It's real. Some chick on Twitter 15 years ago, and I literally, I'm surprised it still looks good because it's been sitting on the edge of my desk forever. Some girl who listened to my old podcast that I used to have ages ago on Twitter was like, my uncle or whatever was a prop guy on Die Hard 1. And she's like, I have a box of these bearer bonds that they were trying to,
Oh shit!
like,
so that's realer than
yeah.
real. That is not. It's not
That's
a real bearer bond. It's a real bearer bond from Die Hard.
Right.
Holy
it's
shit.
the snow that fell. It's snow. It's the snow that fell at the end of Die Hard.
Oh my God, that's incredible. You should frame it. You got to frame it.
I know. I should. It's been sitting here forever. I should frame it.
I can see the frames behind you. I'll send you $10. I'll get it framed the next time I'm down there. I'll get it framed for you.
Please. Okay, that's deal. You can crash at our house if you frame this thing.
That's a good deal for me too. That's so much better. You should see what some of those other people make me do to crash at their house.
That's hilarious. I believe it. I've been around some people.
Right, it's LA. Everything's a transaction. Well, so Nothing But Trouble was no trouble at all for you.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I also had my phone, but it was nothing but trouble.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it. It was like, it's Nothing But Trouble is one of those movies where if you glance down at your phone for 4 minutes and look back up, it's a completely different movie, and that's pretty fun.
I mean, yeah, that's an excellent description. All right, so that's the Raz on Nothing But Trouble. What you want to sign us off?
Yeah, everybody, here's something. Go on to iTunes or Spotify and give Tom Petty a thumbs down and a bad review.
No. I mean, do whatever you want, but just know that the Lord sees all. Okay? You will have to answer for your sins someday. All right, we'll be right back with the questions for Nothing But Trouble. All right, that was the Raz. Now it's time for the last segment. Bjorn's got the questions. You guys ready to drive this part of the ship? Let's go.
Yeah.
All right. Favorite part of Nothing But Trouble?
Digital Underground.
Digital Underground. What was your favorite part of Nothing But Trouble?
Man, it's all production design shit. Probably just the rigged house. Just all of the rigs and traps and shit are...
All the contraptions.
All the contraptions. Specific. I really, really liked the wall. The moving wall that puts them in the ID
cool.
room. Yeah.
My dog's favorite part was when they dropped into the giant pool of squeaky toys. I had my dogs like sleeping on me, and then they just lost their minds. I was like, I gotta turn this down.
All right, so the biggest vote of confidence for this movie so far has been from your two dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What was your favorite part?
I liked all the contraptions.
Same, yeah.
The condiment train.
The condiment train was funny.
Just
I loved when Drag Candy is trying to catch the condiments as they're going by, and she can't do it.
And he's like, why aren't you guys using them? It's like, because you're not stopping the train.
That was
And it's gross.
And it's super gross.
That was a funny bit to me, though. That was good.
I also like the roller coaster
Oh yeah,
To
the roller
crush.
coaster was great.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
The chain link fence cars,
The bone stripper.
bone stripper.
bone stripper.
It did look like a fun roller coaster.
It did.
So, anyone have an Oscar for Nothing But Trouble?
Production design.
That was mine as well.
100%.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah, makeup, and production design.
whoever their Rick Baker was
Yeah,
gets the Oscar for this.
like astounding.
Or Digital Underground.
Best original song.
Yeah.
That's original. Is it in it for this
I don't
movie?
know.
I don't know
didn't
if it's
look
for
that
this
up.
movie, but it's on an EP. I have that, like, I got that on vinyl.
That's awesome.
I just love the song. I didn't even realize it was a song from this movie until I was watching it last night. But All Around the World, same song is that's a dope song. But
Nothing,
yeah, the Digital Underground part is like the only part I would watch again. Because it has very little, like the only time anything gross is in it is just Dan Aykroyd's
On the organ.
judge character.
Yeah.
And but he plays the organ and he's like, whoever's playing the organ is good.
just nailing it. Was this before or after Blues Brothers?
This was after Blues
This
Brothers.
was after Blues
Yeah.
Brothers.
Blues Brothers was like 1980. 80,
Because he's
81.
in that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Him and Belushi.
Do you guys have a recast of Nothing But Trouble?
Sure don't.
No, the only the cast can stay the same. I do think the movie makes more sense if Jeff Goldblum is the Chevy Chase part and the movie is directed by John Carpenter.
Yeah.
It's a better movie. You can keep everything almost the same and it's still better.
I would, as we mentioned earlier, put Catherine O'Hara in the Demi Moore part.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty much true of
Anything. Put Catherine O'Hara in fucking anything.
yeah,
she would have been great.
Mm-hmm.
she's incredible.
I
Right,
wa-
she's the only callback to an earlier episode. She's the only person I can think of that isn't in Clue that should be in Clue.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Then or now. They just depended on what, now she's old enough to play Mrs. Peacock, but she could have been either of the other ones in 84. Yeah, she would be great in almost anything. I can't find a place for her in Hard Rain, but almost all the rest of these she'd be good in.
Just have her get killed in some fun way.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, to give the Diane part, the Demi Moore part, somebody with like equivalent comedy chops
Yeah.
would have helped the movie a little bit.
Mm.
It would have made the Chevy Chase making jokes part not so jarring
Mm-hmm.
because he's the only one being funny.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
everyone else is terrified or disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
And if you put Catherine O'Hara in there, she can hold her own against Chevy Chase every time. But I just think Jeff Goldblum,
Jeff Goldblum would have been great.
I don't know. The studio said he didn't have the star power, which I guess when you have John Candy playing a zero when he's not in drag, and then a mute when he is in drag, and Dan Aykroyd playing two bodysuits, you need somebody recognizable
Mm-hmm.
to hang the movie on. And so they went with Chevy instead of Jeff Goldblum. But the vibe of this movie fits Goldblum way more.
Especially because at that point he had already done a body horror movie.
Yeah.
So like,
And
why not?
Carpenter could make scary movies that had jokes in it.
Yeah.
Big Trouble in Little China is funny.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of those movies that he makes are not that far from this. This could be a set piece in an escape movie
Mm-hmm.
pretty easily. The two fucking grandsons, I could have just done without that altogether.
I liked how they looked, but nothing else.
Right? They look like real life, like terrifying versions of the cartoon Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
Well, they both looked like the monster from the Goonies.
Right. Well, I have a better example of what they look like, but I'm saving that for double feature.
Okay.
I still think that Martin Short could have killed it in that judge role.
I agree.
Like kind of doing his Jiminy Glick, essentially.
Right. I mean, put Martin Short as the judge and Dan Aykroyd as the Chevy Chase part.
Yeah.
And
it
it's
works
better.
It works better, yeah.
I felt like he just wasn't goofy or like he doesn't do a good, he's more of a straight man. He's not a goofy character.
Dan Aykroyd?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
a better
that seemed to be a conflict in his entire career was he didn't realize, I don't know that he ever really put together that he was more of a Phil Hartman than a Dana Carvey or whatever. Like he was better at the straight, but like holding it together. Like they just did the SNL 50.
Yeah.
Like Phil Hartman is the best cast member. I don't know that, like, I wouldn't say he's the funniest cast member or he doesn't star in the most memorable sketches. He only had a few.
He executes his parts perfectly.
But yeah, whenever every sketch needs somebody like that for the sketch to work. And you can tell when they don't have a character like that or they don't have a cast member that can do that. Sudeikis was good at it when he was on.
Yep.
The cat, I don't know who does it now.
Keenan?
No.
I don't know.
He can. He does. I mean, he does, but he just doesn't seem to be in too many sketches anymore. They're just. I lost my train of thought on that, but yeah, Phil, like Dan Aykroyd was a better Phil Hartman than he was John Belushi, and that was his push and pull for the whole movie. Like that's why, like when Dan Aykroyd career, like when you think of his best movies that aren't Ghostbusters, it's My Girl and like things where he's not particularly funny,
right?
Because he's a pretty good actor. You know, I mean, he was nominated for Driving Miss Daisy. I think he got Oscar nominated for that movie. Like, that movie's not great. It was, a classic Hollywood anti-racist, but still kind of racist movie from that era. Like, they didn't really know. It's Green Book. That's all that was. But 20 years apart, people still clap themselves on the back for being like, look, he became nice to the black guy.
Right.
Oh, good. What a fucking story you're telling. But the funniest Dan Aykroyd's ever been was in Grosse Point Blank. Like, as just a straight up character, like that part, that performance. He does a lot more in Ghostbusters or whatever. Ghostbusters is good. He's good. Like, this all sounds like I'm bagging on Ghostbusters. I'm not.
No.
I think calling it, the Ghostbusters 2 has more jokes. The Ghostbusters with the Kate McKinnon and Kristen Wiig has the most jokes. The first Ghostbusters is the best Ghostbusters, but it's a funny monster movie. But Aykroyd in Grosse Point Blank is so goddamn funny. Character actor Dan Aykroyd is where it's at.
All right. So what's your double feature? You kind of on Nothing But Trouble.
Yeah, double feature is the Garbage Pail Kids movie. Since we have 2 live action Garbage Pail Kids in this one.
Yeah. Oh, that's where I recognize them from.
Yeah, I mean they are. That's what they are, right? Like they're just Garbage Pail Kids, but it's 2 of the same one. Like, are they twins? They must be twins. How do they both end up looking like that?
Yeah,
they're twins. Garbage Pail Kid twins.
I was sure one of them was voiced by John DiMaggio, or just was John DiMaggio before he became famous, because it sounds just fucking like, listening to them, like, that's fucking Bender.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I don't know if you guys picked up on that.
I was like, it sounded familiar, but then I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't figure out who it was. Did you have a double feature for?
I did. Mine is The Substance.
Okay.
Whoa.
I like that.
Demi Moore in a high production design body horror movie.
All right.
My double feature for Nothing But Trouble was Coneheads.
Yeah. All right. Another prosthetic head.
That's
Yep.
a great one.
Another Dan Aykroyd in a 3 hours in the makeup chair.
Yeah.
Coneheads is better.
It's so much better.
Yeah.
I think. I don't know. I haven't watched it recently.
It doesn't matter. It's better.
It's better. I feel like it is.
It can't not be. But also I've seen it within the last few years and it is definitely better. It's pretty fun. It's fun for Drew Carey's in it. Sinbad.
Chris Farley.
David
Farley's in
Spade,
it.
Michael McKean,
Jane Curtin.
Sandler.
Is Phil Hartman in it?
I don't remember.
I feel like he is,
I
but
feel like he is, but
it's been a long time since I've seen it.
Seems like it would be, but either way, I mean, and the daughter, the Conehead's daughter, that was a big year for her because she was also the star of Dazed and Confused.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I don't know.
And then
I don't know what happened after that.
Gotta get up on IMDb.
Right, probably ended up on like Melrose Place or something. But
Yeah.
All right. Better title for Nothing But Trouble.
I only had one.
What is it?
Hold on.
I don't have any because
You don't
there's
have-
already 6.
I know there's so many.
The Nothing But Trouble is the 6th title they picked.
The one with the V, that
Vulcanvania.
that's a better title for sure to me.
It gives it fits the vibe.
Yeah.
If it's called Vulcanvania, stars Jeff Goldblum, directed by John Carpenter, this movie, even being the same, everything is the same. It's the exact same movie. I think it feels like everything about it is better.
Yeah.
It seems better. It makes more sense. That's kind of it's like how the last 2 seasons of The Office aren't better than the first 7, but they make more sense in the first 7.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Carell's very funny, and losing him loses a lot of laughs. But as far as a show about that kind of thing goes, his character never made sense. So getting rid of it and then watching them try out different bosses and landing on Ed Helms or whatever, like the show makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as good, but it makes more sense.
Yeah.
And I think just switching a couple of those things without changing anything, it makes more sense. If this is a Jeff Goldblum, John Carpenter body horror movie, it's good.
Yeah. It is a good one.
But this was a Dan Aykroyd, Chevy Chase, John Candy comedy horror. It's trash.
Yeah.
It's
your title, your alternate title for Nothing But Trouble.
The Nutty Chainsaw Massacre.
Ooh, I like that. That's fun. I got a couple. Better title for Nothing But Trouble. Analog Underground or Digital Overground.
Digital Overdone.
Yeah, Digital Overdone.
I have one.
Okay.
Jersey de Bull. The Jersey de Bull.
Jersey Devil.
Right? Like the Jersey Devil is a thing that I saw in an X-Files episode.
Yeah. It's a cryptid.
The Jersey de Bull, right? The fucking garbage pail fatso.
All right. I have The Junkyard Has Eyes.
Nice. That's great.
Courthouse of Horrors. And Throw Mama from a Condiment Train.
That's great.
All right. Do you have a description of Nothing But Trouble that's technically right, but not good?
Oh, do I?
Okay.
I would suggest, before I hear Randall's, I would suggest that the synopsis, the actual given synopsis of this movie is technically accurate, but not correct.
Totally.
Okay. Yeah.
That is.
How
Yeah.
they describe the movie is wrong.
So mine are a group of friends rides a handmade roller coaster. A young up-and-coming rap artist learns the dangers of speeding. A peeping Tom learns about facial prosthetics. Ray Stantz hits hard times when the Ghostbusters go out of business. And lastly, Dan Aykroyd proves he needs Harold Ramis.
Yeah. Or Ivan Reitman, or John Landis, or John Hughes.
All those. I have small town police officer finally gets a promotion.
Finds love.
Finds love. Well, so do you guys have a sequel to Nothing But Trouble?
No.
I got
I
one.
mean,
Wow.
I want John
everything I want to
Candy.
know about this movie. I want to know any more information about these characters that I want to know comes from before. Like
Yeah.
what led up to this. But it seems like it's been going on for like 100 years, so I don't want to watch 5 fucking prequels.
Right.
Or
Also,
a Ken Burns,
Yeah, like-
Vulcanvania.
All the different
also
big killings.
the
they did.
prequel to this for me is just if Texas Chainsaw worked.
Yeah.
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 All right.
My sequel was John Candy's character turns their house down in
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 Rio.
Brazil.
That's
and just like
great.
adds a bunch of booby traps and like weird fun things.
He just Wallace and Gromit's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the sequel I want to see. Just him down in Brazil having fun
Right, he can't.
with his new wife.
He doesn't like and her helicopter brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't like normal houses.
No.
He just walks around pushing on paintings and shit all day. None of this goes anywhere.
Oh, I love that painting of definitely John Candy. There's the one
Yeah.
that the eyes get pulled out.
Yeah,
of.
yeah.
Yeah. I think
We never
that's-
find out whose eyes those are.
No.
No, we sure don't.
Yeah,
Do we need to know? No.
kind of.
Kinda. Maybe.
It's not important,
Yeah.
but also it doesn't seem like
It was important enough to show us
right, but
that
like
that it was happening.
but
not-
also nothing about those eyes coming through the painting does anything for the story.
No.
Like it doesn't send anyone up there to stop anyone from doing anything.
no,
It just happens.
right. It's just there because he took a lot of suggestions.
It's another funhouse thing.
All right. How should this movie, Nothing But Trouble, end?
Fucking by not getting greenlit.
Yeah, like 45 minutes earlier.
Yeah.
You're like, move the Digital Underground scene up and then just roll credits on top of
Yeah.
it.
I mean, honestly, it should have ended after the first series of explosions, and that should have just wiped it out.
Yeah.
Like they all die, and it's done. Going back and adding in the Brian Doyle Murray and the Raymond J. Barry State Attorney General part, like
Especially because like the whole premise for the ending is that the coal fire finally takes out enough support for the ground for everything to collapse. If you cause a giant explosion of oil barrels, that's going to happen.
yeah,
So it should have been the explosion and then the entire compound collapsing in on itself.
right. If you have to have the reveal of everybody in the state is friends with him or whatever, then have the car phone work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they call for the help. The help shows up because they can't escape. So you eliminate the first escape and just have the second escape be the only escape
Mhm.
after they think help's arrived. Turns out they're wrong. Big explosion. They get away then. Then it ends with it should have ended with all 5 of them in Brazil.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like they just, we see the scene of them walking around the pool, then it just kind of pans over and you see those 2 laying by the pool and you're just like, okay, so they fucking left the country entirely.
And then it very well could have been like a Silence of the Lambs ending where they're all around the pool and then we cut to like an over the shoulder shot of watching them go by the pool and then the camera turns and it's the judge.
Yeah. Yeah, he's chasing them, right? And then there's your sequel. He's just them it's Fast 5 or whatever, but it's these guys trying to escape
Mm-hmm.
the judge of Brazil. Like Paddington in Peru.
Yeah.
Now they're just in Brazil
Mm-hmm.
trying to get away from this psycho judge.
Who can walk?
All right. I'm going to do my last question that I'm adding right now.
Okay.
Did we watch this so you don't have to?
Yeah.
Yes, we did. We sure did.
Yeah, we should put that on the
On the
post
list.
when we say, hey, the next one is Nothing But Trouble. We watched it so you don't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. What are we going to watch next?
Oh, Ready to Rumble.
Okay.
The wrestling movie from 2000. It's a subheading of the Saturday Afternoon Movie Club, where it's like the graduate version when it got to the late 90s, and I just had 10 movies on VHS or whatever, and would just get stoned and pick one of them. And this is one of those. So it's essentially the same type of idea, but
That's the one with the
later in my
arm,
life.
with two guys
Yeah,
in
Scott
the arm
Conn
hold,
and David
right?
Arquette
Yeah.
and Oliver Platt plays Jimmy King. It's a wrestling movie.
I've definitely seen it. I do not remember anything about it other than the movie poster.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching it. We'll have a guest on, and that'll be the next episode. Ready to rumble.
Great.
I can't wait. Are we all done?
Think
Meeting
that's-
adjourned?
Anything you want to plug?
Nope.
I'm going to plug my Instagram, Bjorn RG Comedy.
Yeah.
And then, listen to What's More Metal. And,
Oh yeah, give out the email address.
oh, yeah, Saturday Afternoon Movie Club podcast at gmail.com. I'm going to double check that because I am bad with remembering things.
Don't cut this.
I mean, it's either
Saturday Afternoon Movie Club at gmail.com.
Yeah. Right. So email us, and we'll start reading them. We might do a whole episode of emails at some point when we have enough. As our listeners know, I mean, as our listeners, like everyone listening knows, we don't mention it enough to have a lot yet.
Right.
So
I
once
will
we
say-
have enough, and we got some things cooking.
I will say real quick, because this one was a quick one that I got this morning. D wrote in, said, big fan, excited about Runaway,
Hell yeah!
Nice.
which will
Right,
have
which
come
was
out.
2 months ago.
Yeah.
But we should all still be excited about Runaway. It's
Yes.
fucking way better than Nothing But Trouble. Right, so we'll see you next week for Ready to Rumble. Meeting adjourned.